Hi ladies, welcome to today's prenatal class. I'm Rima from The Grounded Yogi and I'm going live with Fit Mama for the second time. So today we're going to have a little focus on the breath. So welcome to anyone joining. Today we're going to bring a little bit more focus onto the breath. So last week we focused on strength work, and if you missed that session, it's all saved. So last week was a big focus on strength and kind of building that strength in the body. Today the focus is going to be on our breath and how we can use it both in our practice today, in pregnancy, and of course in the all-important birth. So we're going to start seated, and I'll give you guys a couple of moments just to get yourselves ready and comfortable. So if you find cross-legged comfortable, you can sit like this, or simply just sitting back onto your heels if that's better for you. You might also find it more comfortable with a cushion underneath, so just perching just right at the end of the cushion. If you just sit on the end of the cushion, that will sort of tilt you forwards to get your pelvis in a good position. That will bring a lot more comfort if you have any lower back pain or anything like that. So once you've found a position that you can stay in for a few moments, I'm going to start connecting with our breath. So take your hands and place one hand onto belly to feel the baby, and one hand onto the chest in front of your heart center. Trying to sit up nice and tall, just as tall as you can, comfortably, to create a nice posture in the spine. Maybe take those shoulders up and back. And then whenever you're ready and comfortable, slowly closing your eyes and taking your attention inwards, connecting with that breath. So just notice how the breath feels for a moment, just observing the breath as it flows in and out. Try to settle the breath if it feels a little bit out of breath, or if you're breathing fast and shallow. Just use this moment to really ground yourself and slow down that breath, relaxing both the breath and yourself. So we're going to stay here for a moment to really connect with the breath and to also see the effect that it can have on you. So if you feel like you're maybe a little bit stressed, or if there's a little bit of anxiety, or if you've just had a busy morning, just notice what it can do for you as you focus on the breath and start to slow it down. Feel your body expanding as you breathe in, and then allowing it to fall and settle as you exhale. We'll take a couple more breaths here. Try to breathe in through your nose if you can. And then after your next breath, you want to slowly bring your hands back onto your knees. And we're just going to go through a breath called the golden thread breath. So if you've been to any prenatal yoga classes or done any sort of research into it, chances are you've come across this breath. It's such a simple but effective breath that really helps, especially in the birthing process. But I find even in day-to-day life, so if you're feeling a little bit anxious or stressed, it's a really good breath to use just to calm the mind and the body down, and really helps you to get into that relaxed state of being. So it's very simple. We're going to be breathing in through the nose, and on the out breath, you're going to relax the jaw and just part the lips very slightly. So it's not a big open exhale, it's very small. So the lips are just parting very slightly, very small, like very soft, as if you're blowing on a feather. So it's also called feather breathing for this reason. So you're going to inhale through the nose, and on the exhale, it's very soft, very gentle kind of exhale. And by closing off that space, minimizing that space where you're breathing out from, it's going to mean that your exhales are getting longer, and it's going to take that little bit longer to exhale, which is good, because as soon as you long that exhale breath out, the more relaxed you're going to be. It's going to slow down the mind. Okay, so let's practice it together. So again, sitting up nice and tall if you can, however you're comfortable. Have the hands on your knees if you want to, or you can bring them back to the belly and chest if that felt nice for you as well. And then whenever you're ready, you're going to start to breathe in through the nose. Nice big inhale, and on the exhale, just relaxing that jaw, opening the lips, just very slightly parting them, and exhale. So slowly blowing the air out as if you're blowing onto a feather. And then again, inhaling through the nose and exhale. And then we're just going to keep going for a few breaths. So breathe at your normal rate. Go with your natural rhythm of breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just keep going with your own breath. Feel your body settling as you exhale through that small space in your mouth. Once you've got the hang of it, you can also, as you exhale, visualize some golden threads just slowly leaving your body. So imagine you're blowing out those golden threads as they leave your body. So that's a nice way of bringing some visualization into it. So once you've got the hang of the inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, you can bring those golden threads into your breath as well. You can also imagine you're bringing in whatever type of energy you need right now. So in the birthing process, when I use this breath, I quite like to inhale strength. So inhale strength for yourself, and then exhale out any pain or discomfort. Nice and slowly, kind of riding out that moment. So you can obviously change that throughout. So if you're practicing it throughout pregnancy, which is a really good idea, so you really get used to the breath, you can inhale whatever you need. If you need some calm today, if you just need some love, you can inhale those qualities, imagining you're breathing them in, and as you exhale, just letting go of whatever it is. If you're feeling any kind of anxiety today, any kind of stress, whatever it is, just letting it go in that exhale. So we'll just do a couple more for today. And then when you finish your next breath, you're going to simply open your eyes and just bring your breathing to its natural rhythm, however it feels good for you. And maybe even take a moment to just notice how you're feeling. So if at the beginning of the session you felt you were a little bit stressed, maybe you were breathing quite shallow breaths, quite fast, just take a moment to notice if that practice has brought any more calm into your body, if you feel a little bit more settled, just to see how it's working for you. We're actually going to start moving into our stretches. So we're going to slowly bring the soles of our feet together in front of us into butterfly. You might want some cushions underneath your knees if you're feeling any sensitivity, but otherwise placing your hands onto your feet and just creating some space here. If you feel like you've got any kind of pelvic pain in this posture, you can also just bring your legs straight out in front of you into staff pose and practice it this way, just getting a nice stretch into your legs. If you're okay with butterfly, we're going to stay here, placing your hands around your feet and keeping that strong, straight spine as much as you can. Okay, now let's start to connect with our breath. So as we inhale, take a nice breath in. And as you exhale, turn to look over towards the right, as if you're looking over your right shoulder. And then breathe here for a moment. Feeling a nice stretch into the side of your neck. Take another breath in and move back towards center. And as you exhale, just turning over towards the left. And then breathing here for a moment. And on your next inhale, you're going to bring it back to center. And we're exhaling to look up towards the ceiling. And just breathing here for a moment. On your next inhale, you're going to bring it back to center. And as you exhale, taking your gaze down, bringing chin to chest. And then slowly bring it back to center and just breathe here for a moment. Good, now slowly taking the right leg and extending it out in front of us. Bring the sole of your left foot on the inside of that right leg. And we're just going to start bringing some hamstring stretches. So we're going to take our right hand to come towards the right toes. If you can't get it all the way, that's absolutely fine. Just anywhere on your leg, wherever you can reach comfortably without kind of compressing the abdomen. So you want to try and not kind of bend over the abdomen. You're almost moving around it without twisting, so we're not compressing in that area. So bringing the right hand towards our foot, then taking the left hand back and bringing that right arm up and over. And we're just going to keep doing that. So you're taking right arm to right foot, bringing the left arm to meet it, and then taking the two arms back. So it's almost like this little swinging motion where we're getting the hamstring stretch as we come forward, then taking the arms back one at a time to open up this whole side of the body, creating space for the baby. And we're just going to move like that for a few moments. If you want to bring a little bit more of a challenge in, what you can do is when you move back, so when you take that arm back, lift your hips up and just raise yourself into that stretch, and slowly bring the hips down and then continue. So that's just an option if you want to bring a bit more of a stretch, a little bit more of a strength exercise. You can practice it that way as well. I'm going to slowly start to connect with our breath as well. So you're going to inhale as you rise up. So you're inhaling as you rise up, and then softly exhaling as you stretch forwards. So go with your own rhythm. If you're bringing the breath into it, always follow your natural rhythm of breath. Especially in pregnancy, really key that we're not holding the breath. So you're going to inhale as you rise and exhale to stretch over. So let's do a couple more on this side before we switch. And as always, if something doesn't feel comfortable, feel free to skip it or modify it however you need to. And then when you finish your next breath, let's slowly move over to the other side. So you're going to extend the left leg out this time and bring the right foot, the sole of the right foot, in towards that left leg. And again, just starting to bring the left arm towards that leg and then taking it back. So you're going to slowly start to stretch over towards the left and then taking the arms back. And again, being very mindful, we're not compressing the abdomen. So if you can't come all the way down or all the way down towards your toes, that's absolutely fine. Just come halfway to your leg maybe, just as far as it feels comfortable. So you are always going to be the best judge of your body, especially in pregnancy. Really important to connect with your body and feel how it is for you. Okay, so just modify it however you need to. If you want to bring the lifts in and the breath, you can. So simply inhaling as we lift up nice and slowly, and then exhaling as you come forwards. So you can bring that breath element into it if you want to. Inhaling as you reach up, and then exhaling as you come forwards. So you're going to continue that for a few more breaths. I just wanted to kind of highlight the reason why we bring the breath into the yoga practice at any time, but especially in pregnancy, is because the breath is going to be your best friend when you want to calm your body down and prepare. So whether it's in pregnancy, if you're feeling any kind of anxiety or stress or any kind of discomfort, the breath is really going to help you. And then further along, as you approach the birthing time, the breath is going to be your key thing to kind of go through the experience. It's going to help you to connect with your body, stay calm, and embrace the whole process. So it's really, really key. I always talk about the breath in my pregnancy yoga classes because I just think it's the number one thing. If you don't do anything else in your whole pregnancy, I always say just connect with your breath and practice some of these breathing exercises. So like the golden thread breath that we just practiced was my go-to. So in both times, and I had very different births. I had a C-section the first time round and a natural birth the second time round, but both times the golden thread breath for me really kind of helped me to just stay calm and in the moment. So that's why breath is so important. So when you finished your next round, you're going to slowly bring your feet in, and we're actually going to bring it over towards the mat. So we're moving on to our hands and our feet. So your hands are underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips. So you're going to find a nice stable kind of position here. So you might need to take your hands a little bit wider, maybe your knees need to come out a little bit wider so that you feel quite stable here. Okay, making sure our fingers are nice and spread out as well. And as we inhale, we're going to take the hips up towards the ceiling, inverting that spine, taking our gaze slightly up. And as you exhale, rounding the back, bringing the chin to chest, and then continuing with that movement, so inhaling as you look up, exhaling to round the back, and just continue with your natural breath. So keep going with your natural breath. I'll just give you a little bit of modification if you need to. So if you're feeling like there's any strain in the wrists or the fingers, you might find bending your elbows slightly. It might help you to take some of that pressure off. If you are suffering from anything like carpal tunnel syndrome or anything like that, you want to just simply come off your hand. You can just come down onto your elbows and we can do something different. So here, you can also just stay here if that's going to help you get a nice little stretch. Or you can bring your hands a little bit further and bring yourself a little bit lower into puppy pose. So if this is too much for you, you can practice those two options, or simply come down into child pose as well. If you can practice this is a really nice exercise. This is going to stretch your spine and especially release any tension in your lower back. So that's quite a key area in pregnancy. As the bump grows and puts pressure on your back, we tend to feel it in the lower back quite a lot. So this is a really nice way of just releasing any of that tension and minimizing that pain. So if you practice this daily, this would be a really good way of preventing that. Good. So now when you finished your next breath, bring yourself into a neutral position. So your back is just nice and straight. We're not curving it. I'm going to take a big inhale as we take our right arm up towards the ceiling, opening up that side. And as you exhale, weave that right arm under your left, trying to bring the right shoulder down towards the mat. If you can't bring your right shoulder all the way down without kind of putting any pressure on the abdomen, you can just bend that right arm and just come down onto your right forearm. Okay, so whichever way feels comfortable for you. If you can bring your right shoulder down, and you might also want to take your left arm up and over, and you're going to hold it here. So just breathe here, getting a nice stretch into your shoulder and the top of your back. And again, if anything doesn't feel right, just simply come out of it. Maybe come down into child pose or just sit up for a moment. Maybe need to catch your breath. Good, and when you're ready, you're going to slowly bring yourself back into that all-fours position. And this time we're going to do the same thing on the left. So when you're ready, you're going to inhale to take the left arm up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, you're bringing that left shoulder down towards the mat. Again, you can just take the forearm option if you need to. And if you want to take the right arm up and over. So whichever variation you've chosen to take, you're going to breathe here and enjoy the stretch for a moment. So take one more breath here. Oh, sorry about that pause, ladies. So coming out of that thread the needle, if you're still into it, you're going to come back onto all fours. And here I'm going to give you two options. So the softer option is to go into puppy pose, where you extend your hands a little bit in front of you and start to bring your forehead down towards the mat, keeping the hips nice and high. So you're getting a nice little stretch into your spine. So if that feels okay, you can practice it that way. If you want a bit of a challenge, then you're from the all fours position, you're going to keep your hands where they are and just lift your knees up, taking the hips nice and high into a downward dog. I'll just shift forwards to show you a bit more. So you want to bring your heels down towards the mat. If they don't reach, that's okay. The hips are nice and high and you're bringing that chest towards your legs. If you feel like you maybe need to take your feet a little bit away from you, if that's going to give you a little bit more space for bump, that's okay. And you can also bend one leg at a time to just start to bring some stretch into your legs if they're feeling a little bit tight. But if this feels too much, then simply come down into puppy pose, which is where you're on your knees and your hands are extended in front of you and you're getting a nice stretch into your spine that way. So take the version that works for you. If you're in downward dog, keep bending those legs if that's going to help you stretch out those calves. If you feel like you're ready for some stillness, you can just hold it in that downward dog position. So bringing those heels down towards the mat. And we'll all just take one more breath in whichever pose we're in. And then slowly bring the knees down if you're up in downward dog. Bring your hands back if you're in puppy pose. And we're going to settle down into child pose. So bringing your forehead down towards the mat. Arms can be next to you. Knees are nice and wide, creating space for the bump. And we're just relaxing down here. You're going to stay here. If you're struggling to get your forehead down, you can use some support, some cushions, maybe just your hands underneath your forehead, whatever you need to be comfortable. This should just feel like a really nice way of being. You should be able to feel that you could stay here for ages. So quite nice and relaxing, but if you do need to use a support, maybe even an exercise ball. So if you have one of those kind of Swiss balls, you can just use that and place your hands on it. That's going to help you as well if you can't come all the way down. But just taking a breath here, whichever pose you've chosen. The child pose is a very grounding pose. It really helps to kind of calm down that nervous system and actually triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the one that's going to bring calm to your body. So that's why child pose is such a great one to practice, especially in pregnancy. Obviously, if you ever need a little bit of calmness, you can just bring yourself down into this child pose and just breathe and just ground yourself, connect with your breath. That's always going to help you. Now when you're ready, you're going to slowly come out of child pose. And now I want you to, we're going to end up on our backs, but I really just want you to really take this really slowly and very carefully. I don't want you to kind of lean back and lie down that way. I want you to almost come down onto your side, so left or right, whichever one you're comfortable. So you're going to come down onto your side and then slowly roll onto your back. So that's the best way in pregnancy, to come onto your back so that you don't put any additional pressure on your abdomen as you come down. So take your time with this one, and whenever you're kind of in place, you just want to make sure that your legs are bent so the knees are pointed up. Arms are next to you down on the mat with the palms facing down. Keep your feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. That generally feels the most comfortable for me, but you can always move around your feet however it feels good for you. And then when you're ready, we're going to slowly start to lift the hips up. So as you inhale, I want you to lift the hips up, lifting your spine up. So you're peeling the spine off the mat as you inhale. And then as you exhale, you're bringing your back down onto the mat just the way it came up. So slowly all the way down. And then we're going to continue that, connecting with our breaths. As you inhale, you're lifting the hips up, peeling that spine off the mat. And as you exhale, bring that spine back onto the mat, one vertebra at a time. Try to really picture the spine coming down nice and slowly, all the way down into the tailbone. And again, as you inhale, lifting that tailbone up, lifting the hips up, your whole spine, so that your chest moves towards your chin. If you can't come up all the way, that's absolutely fine. And of course, if any of this doesn't feel right for you, then slowly just roll onto your side and come up. Maybe skip this exercise. When you're at the top, you can give your glutes a little squeeze. So really strengthening our legs, especially our thighs and our glutes. And we're also creating a really nice stretch for the spine. Again, releasing any tension that might have built up. This is going to help you strengthen your back, keep you going throughout pregnancy. So really kind of key area that we work on in pregnancy is the back, of course, but we also want to strengthen these legs. So the stronger your legs are and can hold your weight, then you're going to find less issues with, for example, your knees. So it'll put a lot less pressure onto your knees if your legs are nice and strong and the muscles are strong enough to carry your weight for you. We'll do a few more like this. As you inhale, you're moving up, squeezing the glutes at the top, and as you exhale, you're coming back down. Now the next time you inhale and you're at the top, just hold it at the top, keep breathing, make sure you're not holding your breath. And at the top, we're just going to do little pulses. So we're just going to move the hips up and down, very small movements to squeeze those glutes. And we're just going to do this for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Slowly bring it back down. And now from here, we're going to roll onto our side. So we're just going to practice a little relaxation. So wherever you are, roll onto your side. I'm just going to turn this way so I can see. So again, work with your own body however you're comfortable. If you're early on in your pregnancy and you're comfortable on your back, you can just lie on your back, maybe with the knees bent or the legs straight, whatever feels okay. Generally, it's always advised to lie on your left when you're lying down for a long time. You can have some cushions maybe in between your knees or underneath your head. So take your time and just get comfortable. As we move into relaxation, the first step is obviously to make sure that you're comfortable, so you're not worrying about kind of wobbling around or anything being uncomfortable. Maybe use that top hand down in front of you on the floor as a balance. Or if it feels better, to place the hand onto your belly, whatever feels good. And then gently closing the eyes and starting to take that attention inwards. So away from the outside world, just taking that attention inwards. And start to bring the focus onto your breath. So just observing the breath to start with. Use the breath to allow you to just settle down into whichever position you're in. Feel your body becoming softer, and just allow yourself to surrender down into the ground. And we're going to do a little body scan where we bring our awareness to the top of the body and we move down slowly. And if you find any areas that feel uncomfortable or tight, maybe there's a bit of tension there still, you're going to use your breath to release that tension. And the way you're going to do this is by bringing your focus into that area, breathing into that space, and exhale to allow that tension to leave your body. So you're just going to focus on that area and use your breath to breathe out any tension that you might come across. So bringing your awareness to the top of your head, let's start from the top of the body, and just simply scanning down with our awareness down through the face, maybe noticing if the jaw is relaxed, if the tongue is relaxed, so allowing the tongue to drop down, relaxing all those muscles in the face. And then slowly bringing your awareness down through your neck and into your shoulders, noticing if there is any stress or any tension there. And if there is, you're simply going to breathe into that space and breathe out any tension. Feel that area getting softer. Feel the release. And slowly take your awareness down your arms, all the way into your fingertips, and just softening the hands, softening the fingertips wherever they are. Now bring your awareness onto your spine, on your back, and slowly move down your spine, noticing if there is any tightness, or if you're maybe squeezing, holding on to any tension anywhere, and just relaxing all the way down into your lower back. If you feel any tension, use your breath to breathe into that space. And slowly take your awareness into your legs, moving down your legs, relaxing those thighs, into the knees, down through your calves, and all the way down into your feet, into your toes. And again, if you feel any tension anywhere, using your breath to just breathe into that space and simply exhaling to let go. just simply resting in this relaxed way of being, just for a moment, allowing yourself to totally let go, surrendering down into your mat. And then when you're ready, you're going to slowly wake up the body. Bring some slow, soft movements into the body. And you're going to slowly, in your own time, take your time, you're going to slowly come out of relaxation and bring yourself up. No rush at all, just enjoy this relaxed state of being, and we're going to end this session here today. So thank you ladies, all of you, for joining me, and remember this is going to be saved so you can practice it as much as you want. I'm going to be doing one more session next Sunday, so if you can join me that would be absolutely great. If there's anything particular you want me to cover in this last session, or have any questions, any particular kind of points that are causing you pain or discomfort, let me know. Any questions, I'm happy to answer. And I will see you next week. Have a great Sunday.